As the sign says, sucker, this is one red-hot mama and a touch of brass. In the early 60s, I was beginning to work in technical theater and found work with a relatively new designer, Jules Fisher. Having mounted several shows for Jules, he called on me to be his tech director and master electrician for Ben Bagley's 1965 off-Broadway revue, The Decline and Fall of the Entire World as Seen Through the Eyes of Cole Porter. A charming pastiche of relatively unknown Cole Porter opuses. It ran for 15 months in New York at Square East, starring Kay Ballard. Harold Lang, a great song and dance man who also appeared with Barbra Streisand in I Can Get It For You Wholesale. The review also featured Carmen Alvarez, Elmarie Wendell, and Bill Hickey, my friend, and later my second acting teacher. Later versions of this dynamic little review included Bobby Short, irrepressible, fashionable, and a darling of the cognoscenti. There was Tammy Grimes and the discombobulated Dodie Goodman, among others. And, following the New York run, I took it to the Little Fox Theater in fabled North Beach, San Francisco, where it ran for an additional 13 months. But that's a different story. This is a story of meeting the one and only, last of the red-hot mamas, Sophie Tucker. One night during the run of the show, Sophie, who by that time was very old and infirm, came with a nurse, a real doll, to see The Decline and Fall. Somehow, we never called it the Cole Porter Revue. Even though this was shortly before Sophie passed away, I imagine she came to see the review because she heard the first act finale was a homage to her. The whole cast, the 5 of them, was on stage singing and dancing their hearts out to the Porter song Tomorrow, from Leave It to Me, starring William Gaxton, Victor Moore, and Sophie, and introduced by Sophie in 1938. For those who haven't ever seen Sophie, when she performed, she used to wear a sequined cocktail jacket and a corsage on her ample bosom, on the left side. I guess she favored the left. In the homage, Kay Ballard, doing an impression of Sophie, wore a rather garish sequined cocktail jacket with a corsage on her left side, much larger than this monstrosity, that stretched from her neck to her knee. Kay's impression of Sophie's brassy tones and Sprechstimme was big. No, not big. Huge, as was Sophie when she was younger. Sophie even sang songs that acknowledged her heft, such as Nobody Loves a Fat Girl, but oh, how a fat girl can love. Theatrical is the kindest word to describe it, for it would be cruel to call it over the top. It was. Oh, and a huge crowd pleaser, got tons of applause and laughter. Because of Sophie's advanced age and lack of energy, she came backstage to meet the cast between the acts, directly after Tomorrow. All of us were there, Kay, Harold, Carmen, Elmarie, Bill, and me too, behind the act curtain, because there was no room, and because no one wanted to miss meeting the irrepressible, the famous Sophie Tucker. When Sophie introduced herself to us, Kay, for whatever reason, started apologizing effusively for wearing that huge corsage. Kay went on and on. Sophie, holding up her hand, barked in a kindly manner, in her best red-hot mama tones, "I don't mind that you wore it, except you wore it in the wrong place. You should have worn it in your ass." There was stunned silence from 5 of us. Bill Hickey, without batting an eyelash, tut-tutted, "No class. If she had any class at all, she would have said up." To this day, the audience has no idea what the huge guffaw was that greeted them in their seats during that act break. Curtain.